Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that many people misunderstand in today's world. A woman's power is not just in what she says, how she looks, or how much she gives. Her real power often lives in what she chooses to keep private. We live in a time where everybody believes openness means revealing everything immediately. Social media tells you to share your thoughts instantly. Relationships move fast, and people confuse emotional exposure with emotional connection. But there's a difference between being open and giving away your mystery before someone has earned the privilege to understand you. You see, mystery is not about hiding who you are. Mystery is about pacing. It's about understanding that human connection grows stronger through discovery. When a man meets a woman, part of what draws him closer is curiosity. Curiosity creates attention, attention creates effort, and effort builds value. When everything about you is revealed too quickly, your deepest fears, your insecurities, your entire emotional history, the natural process of discovery disappears. And when discovery disappears, emotional investment often weakens. A woman who understands emotional self-respect knows that she does not need to explain every feeling immediately. She observes first. She listens first. She allows time to show her who a man really is before opening doors to the most sensitive parts of her heart. This is not manipulation. This is wisdom. Because not everyone who enters your life has the emotional maturity to handle your vulnerability with care. Some people listen without understanding, and others use information without realizing its weight. When you reveal everything too early, you unintentionally remove the balance of emotional energy. Relationships are meant to unfold like chapters in a book, not like someone reading the last page first. When a man learns about you gradually, he feels involved in the journey. He pays closer attention to your words, your reactions, your personality. But when everything is handed over immediately, there is no emotional progression left to build excitement or deeper connection. Emotional self-respect also means recognizing your own value before asking someone else to recognize it. A woman who respects herself understands that her thoughts, her experiences, and her inner world are not public property. They are earned spaces. Think about it this way. When something is rare, people treat it carefully. When something is easily accessible, people often take it for granted without even realizing they are doing it. Many women believe that sharing everything quickly will create closeness, but closeness is not created by quantity of information. It is created by quality of trust. Trust grows through consistency over time. It grows when someone proves they can handle small truths before being trusted with bigger ones. When a woman protects her emotional depth, she allows trust to develop naturally instead of forcing intimacy before it is ready. So another important part of mystery is emotional control. Emotional control does not mean suppressing feelings. It means choosing the right moment to express them. When emotions are shared impulsively, they sometimes come from temporary reactions rather than lasting understanding. A woman who pauses before revealing everything shows emotional maturity. She demonstrates that her feelings are thoughtful, not impulsive, and that level of emotional stability commands respect without needing to demand it. Men, whether they admit it or not, are deeply drawn to emotional confidence. Emotional confidence is not loud or dramatic. It is calm, It is secure. It is the quiet understanding that you do not need constant validation because you already know your worth. When a woman keeps certain thoughts private until trust is established, she communicates confidence. She shows that her identity is whole on its own, not dependent on immediate approval or reassurance. Mystery also protects attraction. Attraction is not only physical, it is psychological. The mind is fascinated by what it continues to learn. When there's always something new to discover about someone, interest remains alive. But when every story, every opinion, every insecurity is revealed, instantly emotional excitement can fade faster than expected. The relationship begins with intensity but lacks longevity because there was no gradual build. Now understand this clearly. Keeping things private is not about playing games or pretending to be someone you are not. Authenticity and privacy can exist together. You can be genuine while still maintaining boundaries. You can be kind while still protecting your emotional space. Boundaries are not barriers against love. They are guidelines that teach others how to approach you with respect. A woman with emotional self-respect knows that silence can sometimes be more powerful than explanation. She does not rush to justify herself or overshare to prove her worth. She allows her actions, consistency, and character to speak first. Over time, the right person earns deeper access, and when that access is given, it feels meaningful because it was not given lightly. And here's something important. Mystery also allows you to maintain your individuality. When you share everything too soon, you sometimes shape yourself around someone else's reactions. You begin adjusting based on their opinions before fully understanding your own emotional boundaries. But when you move slowly, you stay connected to yourself. You remain grounded in your identity instead of losing pieces of it in the rush to connect. The truth is, emotional self-respect creates emotional safety. It protects your peace while allowing genuine intimacy to grow at the right pace. It ensures that when you finally open up completely, you are doing so with someone who has demonstrated patience, understanding, and care. And that kind of connection lasts longer because it was built step by step, not rushed through emotional exposure. Ladies and gentlemen, the strongest presence in any room is not the person who reveals everything trying to be understood. The strongest presence is the person who understands their own values so deeply that they reveal themselves with intention. A woman who keeps parts of herself private is not distant, she is discerning. She knows that her heart is meaningful, her story is powerful, and access to her inner world is something to be earned, appreciated, and respected. Expend 2 key notes, 900 words without subheading and conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that too many women overlook in relationships: protecting your personal struggles and vulnerabilities. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying you should be cold or distant. I'm saying there is power in knowing when and how to reveal your inner battles. Every human being has struggles. Life is messy. People make mistakes. Pain happens. And we all carry scars. But here's the thing. Just because you feel it doesn't mean you have to share it with everybody, especially not in the early stages of a relationship. A woman who understands her value knows that her pain is sacred until trust is proven. Sharing too much too soon can shift the balance in ways that are subtle but impactful. But I'm here to tell you, act full, want to hear everything about their past hardships, heartbreaks, or insecurities is the fastest way to create emotional closeness. But what actually happens is different. Many men, no matter how good their intentions, don't yet have the emotional capacity or maturity to process that level of vulnerability responsibly. When you spill all your emotional baggage too early, you give someone the ability to shape their perception of you around your struggles rather than your strength. Instead of seeing your resilience, your intelligence, or your ambition, he sees the wounds first. And that can unintentionally put you in a position where you defined by what's broken instead of what's strong. Now, protecting your vulnerabilities doesn't mean you are lying or pretending. It means you are pacing the release of your emotional truth. It's understanding that intimacy is earned over time, not given immediately. You allow someone to prove they are capable of handling the small things before giving them access to the larger, more delicate parts of yourself. For example, a man who respects your time, listens without judgment, and consistently shows he values your feelings is far more likely to handle your vulnerabilities with care when the time comes. But if you give all of it away immediately, you don't get to see that filter in action, and the wrong person may have access to what should only be shared with the right person. Think about it this way. Vulnerability is a type of currency. And like money, you don't just give it to anyone, you invest it wisely. The right person will make that investment worth your while. And when they do, your vulnerability becomes a tool for deepening connection instead of a source of potential harm or misunderstanding. Women who don't protect their struggles often end up exhausted, frustrated, or even hurt back. Or the person they revealed them to wasn't prepared to handle that level of emotional depth. And ladies, we don't need to go through life giving away pieces of ourselves to anyone who walks in the door. You are not required to fill every gap, soothe every doubt, or prove yourself by laying your entire heart bare. Another thing to consider is the psychological effect of sharing struggles prematurely. When you reveal a lot of emotional baggage, it can create a subtle shift in dynamics. A man might unconsciously begin to feel responsible for fixing your pain, which is not his job. A relationship should be about mutual support and partnership, not emotional caretaking from the start. If you allow yourself to overshare, you risk turning the relationship into a place where his attention is consumed by your vulnerabilities instead of allowing him to see your full personality, your dreams, your humor, and your strengths. You want a man drawn to your whole self, not just your wounds. Ladies, I want you to understand something crucial. Keeping struggles private is not about manipulation. It is about self-respect, about valuing your emotional health, and about understanding that timing is everything. Revealing too much too soon often stems from fear that if you don't share, you won't be understood, loved, or appreciated. But here's the truth. The right man doesn't need your entire life story on day one to respect you. He doesn't need all your insecurities spelled out to care about you. Respect and love grow over time when vulnerability is shared intentionally and responsibly. There's also a practical side to this. Many women don't realize how quickly information can be misused or misinterpreted, especially early in a relationship. A struggle that feels raw and personal to you might be seen as drama, oversensitivity, or insecurity. by someone who doesn't yet understand you. Protecting that information until the proper foundation of trust exists allows you to control the narrative around your life and ensures that when you finally share, it's in the context of someone who truly gets you. And let's not forget the power of emotional independence. A woman who holds back certain personal struggles demonstrates strength and maturity. She shows that she can stand on her own, handle life's difficulties, and maintain composure even when things are hard. That independence is magnetic. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own center, who are not constantly dependent on outside validation, and who manage their emotional world responsibly. Oversharing early can signal dependence or instability, even if that is not the case. Now, here's the reality. Vulnerability is meant to deepen intimacy, not replace it. You don't want to confuse the two. Intimacy grows naturally when trust, respect, and time allow it to. Vulnerability that is shared too soon can undermine the process. Women who pace their revelations often find that their relationships are deeper, more meaningful, and more stable because every layer of their truth was shared at the right time, with the right person, and in the right context. Remember, ladies, your struggles are part of your story, but they are not your entire story. Your resilience, your humor, your intelligence, your dreams, and your values are just as much a part of who you are, if not more. Protecting your vulnerabilities ensures that people are drawn to the full spectrum of who you are, not just the difficult chapters. And when you finally do share those challenges, it's with someone who truly deserves that level of access. Someone who has shown that they can handle you, not just your pain, but your brilliance and your complexity. So protect your struggles, guard your emotional vulnerabilities. Let intimacy grow at the pace that respects your dignity. Understand that sharing is powerful only when timing, trust, and respect align. A woman who does this is not just wise, she is magnetic, strong, and unshakable. She commands attention without demanding it. She draws the right people in and keeps the wrong ones away. And in the end, that is the hallmark of true self-respect and emotional intelligence. Expend 3 key notes, 900 words, without subheading and conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's talk about something every woman needs to understand, but so many overlook. Keeping your long-term plans, ambitions, and standards private until trust is fully earned. Many women are eager to share their dreams and their goals with someone they are dating because they think it shows transparency or excitement. But here's the truth. Your vision for your life is precious. Your vision for your life is precious. And not everyone deserves an inside look at it right away. Some men will appreciate it, yes, but some will judge it, dismiss it, or even try to control it before they understand the full measure of who you are. A woman who shares her plans too early can unintentionally give away her power before she even realizes it. Think about it carefully. When you tell someone every detail of what you want to achieve in life, from your career goals to personal dreams, you are giving them a roadmap to your inner world. And a roadmap is powerful. It can be used to support you, but it can also be used to manipulate or influence you if the person doesn't have the right intentions. You don't want to hand over that kind of power to someone who hasn't yet proven that they will respect it. Protecting your long-term plans is not secrecy, it's wisdom. It's understanding that timing is everything, and that your vision should be shared when the person you're sharing it with has demonstrated that they can honor it. There's also a psychological effect to consider. When you reveal your standards and goals too early, it can create unconscious pressure on the man you're dating. Some men feel intimidated when a woman has high expectations or big dreams, especially if they are still figuring out their own path. It's not a reflection of you or your worth. It's human nature. Men are wired to want to provide and protect. And when they feel unsure of their ability to meet your vision, it can create tension or self-doubt. By keeping your ambitions private initially, you allow the relationship to develop naturally without adding unnecessary pressure, and you give him time to step up on his own before being confronted with your full expectations. Another reason to hold your plans close is that oversharing can reduce your sense of personal ownership. Your dreams and long-term goals are yours first. They belong to you. When you share them too early, especially with someone who isn't yet fully committed, you risk making those dreams feel like shared property. Suddenly, your plans might be influenced by someone else's opinions, suggestions, or even subtle criticisms. A woman who keeps her ambitions private maintains control over her destiny. She gets to shape her life according to her own vision, not someone else's comfort level or judgment. You have to understand that timing is everything in emotional and relational dynamics. The right man will earn access to your dreams gradually, layer by layer, over time. He will learn your hopes, your goals, and your standards not because you forced them on him, but because he proved through consistent behavior that he deserves to understand and support your ambitions. And when that happens, it creates a far deeper level of connection. There's satisfaction in being understood, not because you revealed everything at once, but because the other person invested the effort to truly see you. Let's talk about standards for a moment. A woman with high standards should never feel pressure to share every expectation early in a relationship. Many women think that being upfront about every rule, boundary, or expectation will protect them from disappointment. But oversharing standards too quickly can have the opposite effect. Some men react defensively or feel challenged. Standards are a form of self-respect, and the right man will learn about them naturally through your actions and decisions, not just your words. By in the disclosure of your standards, you ensure that they are respected and not dismissed or negotiated away prematurely. Ambition, dreams, and standards are also closely tied to identity. A woman who rushes to reveal them can sometimes lose sight of her own independence, subtly adjusting her plans or aspirations based on feedback from someone who isn't fully invested. But when you hold them close, you remain grounded in your identity. You make decisions according to your values and your vision first, and only when a person has demonstrated loyalty, respect, and emotional maturity do you allow them a window into that world. This ensures that your life is shaped by your own choices, not by someone trying to fit into your story before they are ready. Furthermore, keeping your long-term plans private builds intrigue and respect. People naturally value what they don't fully have immediate access to. When a man realizes that you have depth, a purpose, and an intention for your life, he becomes more invested. He pays closer attention, not just to what you say, but to what you do. He begins to recognize that there is more beneath the surface, and that creates attraction. Oversharing everything too soon can remove his sense of curiosity, leaving a relationship emotionally flat and predictable. Mystery and measured disclosure, on the other hand, keep connection dynamic and engaging. Now, ladies, let me remind you, this is not about hiding your life or manipulating someone. It's about understanding relational dynamics, emotional pacing, and personal power. Sharing your life in controlled doses teaches people how to respect you and your journey. It ensures that your dreams are treated as sacred and not taken lightly. It allows the right person to show up with intention and commitment, proving they are capable of supporting your growth rather than unintentionally derailing. Get it. Your ambitions, your vision, and your vision and your standards are your personal currency. You wouldn't give away $1 million to a stranger who hasn't earned it. So why give away pieces of your future, your expectations, and your identity to someone who hasn't demonstrated that they are worthy? Emotional and relational wisdom is knowing that timing matters. The right man will earn insight into your deepest aspirations. The wrong man will fade away before ever being fully trusted. Protecting your plans is a filter, ensuring that your energy is invested only in those who truly deserve it. And let's not forget this, holding certain parts of your life private builds confidence. When you know that you are not constantly performing or revealing yourself for validation, you develop self-assuredness. You move through relationships with calmness, knowing that your worth isn't measured by how much someone knows about you at any given moment. You are strong, independent, and capable, and keeping your long-term plans private until trust is established is a reflection of that strength. At the end of the day, ladies, the woman who understands the power of privacy in her ambitions and standards is the woman who commands respect effortlessly. She doesn't have to explain everything. She doesn't have to prove herself constantly. She shows up fully in her life, confident in her path, and allows others to engage with her on her terms. That is the kind of wisdom that leads to healthy, deep, and lasting connections. The right man will not only respect your boundaries, but will be drawn to the mystery, the depth, and the power you carry because you know the value of your dreams and only share them with those who deserve to witness them. Expand 4 keynotes, 900 words without subheading and conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's dive into the idea that oversharing can completely change the dynamics of a relationship. This is something so many women don't realize until it's too late. You see, communication is a powerful tool, but too much information too soon can shift power, alter perception, and create emotional patterns that are difficult to reverse. It may feel like honesty is always the best policy, but there's a difference between honesty and exposing everything about yourself before the right foundation of trust exists. Overshare personal details, insecurities, or intimate thoughts too early doesn't just reveal who you are, it can redefine the relationship before it even truly begins. When a woman shares too much too soon, she can unintentionally create imbalance. Some men even unintentionally begin to assume roles or responsibilities they weren't ready for. They may feel pressure to fix or protect her, which isn't a sustainable dynamic for a healthy relationship. It changes the natural flow of attraction and partnership. What should be a gradual development of trust and emotional closeness instead becomes a one-sided emotional investment. The woman ends up carrying more emotional weight than necessary, and the man may unconsciously retreat, not because he doesn't care, but because the emotional pace moved faster than he could handle. Oversharing also impacts how men perceive a woman's independence and strength. Women are naturally resilient, capable, and complex. But when every fear, every insecurity, and every past hurt is revealed immediately, some men start to see vulnerability as weakness rather than as a facet of humanity. This isn't a statement about men being bad. It's about human perception. People naturally respond to what is presented. And if all that is presented early is emotional rawness, there's a risk that the man will focus more on the wounds than on the wisdom, humor, ambition, and confidence that are equally rate of her. Privacy in what you share protects the perception of your strength while still allowing authenticity. Another layer of this is emotional energy. Every conversation, every shared detail, every revelation takes energy, both yours and his. When a woman overshares, she sometimes drains herself emotionally without even realizing it. She invests more than she receives because the relationship hasn't yet developed the reciprocity necessary to balance that vulnerability. Emotional energy should flow gradually, naturally, and mutually. By keeping some things private, a woman ensures that her energy is valued and preserved. She isn't giving herself away to someone who hasn't earned the full depth of her trust. And in doing so, she protects her mental and emotional well-being. Oversharing also accelerates intimacy in ways that can be harmful. Intimacy is supposed to grow organically, not be forced through immediate disclosure. When every fear, every past relationship detail, every worry is revealed at once, the relationship feels heavy early on. The man may feel overwhelmed, unsure how to respond, or even inadvertently less attracted because he senses responsibility rather than excitement. But when intimacy unfolds gradually, each layer of vulnerability is paired with trust, attention, and demonstrated care. This creates stronger emotional bonds because the relationship progresses naturally rather than feeling like a confessional from day one. There's also the risk of misinterpretation. When women overshare, sometimes intentions are misunderstood. A comment meant to show honesty might be perceived as drama, insecurity, or neediness. Emotional overshare without context can lead to assumptions and judgments that are hard to undo. When a woman protects certain personal information until the relationship is mature, she minimizes the risk of misinterpretation. She is used that the story she tells about herself is understood and valued, not taken lightly or misconstrued. It's crucial to realize that privacy is a form of empowerment. It sets the tone for how people engage with you. When a man realizes there are layers to a woman that aren't immediately accessible, he begins to approach her with more curiosity, attention, and intentionality. Oversharing flattens that sense of intrigue. Mystery isn't about deception. It's about pacing, boundaries, and respect for yourself and for the other person. Protecting what is most personal communicates that your emotional world is valuable and that access must be earned, not demanded. Another reason oversharing can change dynamics is that it often inadvertently shifts the focus of the relationships onto the woman's vulnerabilities instead of the partnership as a whole. When a woman unloads everything about herself too quickly, she may unknowingly create a situation where the relationship revolves around her struggles rather than mutual growth, shared experiences, or shared goals. Healthy relationships thrive when both people contribute emotionally, intellectually, and practically. Oversharing can create an imbalance where one person becomes the emotional center while the other navigates how to respond, leaving little room for a balanced, dynamic connection. Moreover, oversharing can undermine attraction in subtle ways. Attraction is not only physical, it's also emotional and psychological. The human mind is drawn to what it gradually discovers. Curiosity, effort, and exploration are the engines of lasting attraction, When everything is revealed immediately, that engine stalls. There is no journey left, no discovery to be made, and the relationship risks feeling stagnant before it has truly begun. A woman who paces what she shares preserves the sense of exploration, keeping connection alive, engaging, and dynamic. Finally, oversharing too soon can interfere with self-confidence. Women who habitually reveal too much may unconsciously rely on external validation or reassurance to feel secure. By maintaining privacy, women reinforce their internal strength, self-assuredness, and independence. They communicate that their worth isn't dependent on constant attention or understanding from others. This subtle confidence is magnetic. It draws the right people in and filters out those who aren't aligned with their values or capable of respecting their emotional boundaries. So, ladies, remember this: oversharing is not honesty. It is unmeasured disclosure. Protecting what is personal, choosing when and how to reveal it, and pacing your emotional exposure ensures that your relationships develop with balance, respect, and curiosity. It preserves attraction, strengthens trust, and demonstrates wisdom. A woman who understands this creates a relationship dynamic where intimacy is earned, attention is valued, and emotional energy is protected. And that, my friends, is the true path to lasting connection, respect, and love.